Hi everyone, today I will be interviewing Win News presenter Bruce Roberts. Enjoy. Bruce, thank you so much for your time today.
That's a pleasure, Valen. Great to be chatting with you.
Thank you so much. So you've been doing this news thing for a while. For those who may not know, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I grew up in Ballarat in Western Victoria.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
Went to Melbourne University and started studying journalism, and then got accepted into NIDA, which is the National Institute of Dramatic Art up in Sydney. So
Oh
left
wow.
uni, and went there for 3 years, which was the standard length of the course.
Yep.
Uh, Worked on Channel 7's Home and Away for about 3.5 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah, moved to England, lived over there for 5 years, which is how I started to get back into journalism and presentation. And then when I moved home, I was doing a number of different things, but the main thing was getting back towards journalism, got married, decided that we wanted to make the move from Melbourne back to regional Victoria. And at that point in time, Win was still based for regional Victoria, was based out of Ballarat. And That's now 17 years ago, Balin. And so, yeah, these days live up in Wollongong because about 10 years ago, my role changed from being just a Victorian role to a national role.
Awesome. So what was your experience of the Home and Away show?
Oh, it's so long ago. It's hard to remember.
Oh
Um,
yeah, wow.
so I was fresh out of NIDA, and it was great to be working in a multi-camera studio to really get an understanding of how to work in any studio for the rest of my life. It was such a great grounding, and working with some fantastic people. So Ray Marr, who plays Stone the Crow's Elf on Elf Stewart, such a fantastic bloke. And he was one of those people who really took me under his wing and is still there to this day. But he was just one of many. There were so many people who were just amazing to work with. And it also gave me the opportunity because you had the ability to go and do some presentation things as well. Because Channel 7 used to have, programs like Off the Record and the main event. So you had the chance to go away and do some of that stuff as well.
So awesome. What got you into being a news presenter?
So when I grew up in Ballarat, my mum was a nurse and she worked in a convent nursing home looking after all the old nuns. And I had always gone around and read the local newspaper, the Ballarat Courier, to my nana. And when she passed, when I was about 14 or 15, my mum said to me, "Why don't you come up and read the newspaper to all these old retired nuns?" And
Oh,
so I used to head up probably twice a week and I would take the newspaper with me and I would read the local newspaper to these nuns. And it was just a really cool way to understand how important it was to stay connected with the local community. And you got some pretty instant feedback because if they fell asleep, you weren't doing a very good job.
wow. Would have been weird.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Do you ever get nervous in being in front of the camera again?
Oh, sometimes when you know that you're doing something that's highly important, I still get a little bit nervous, but it's become so routine for me. Here's a better way to answer it. 17 years of studio life for Win Television, it doesn't feel that different to go in day to day. But if all of a sudden you're doing something that's really important and you're not doing it within that environment, the stimulus are different and therefore the response that you give is different. But
Right.
I think generally know that grounding, as I say, that I got, how long is that now? That's, 35 years ago was just so outstanding to know that therefore, I could walk into any studio no matter where I was in the world and be comfortable.
What year did you start again?
Say again.
What year did you start again?
So I began working for Win in 2009, January of
Oh wow.
2009. Yeah.
Oh wow. Oh, wow. How many bulletins do you do a day?
So at the moment, 7 bulletins a day. So I've racked up about 22,000 primetime bulletins.
Oh
So
wow.
it's a lot. It was funny because Peter Hitchener is such a fantastic bloke, and he was posting quite recently that I think he'd done 10,000 bulletins or something like that. And I'm thinking, Geez, Pete, I live in dog years, don't I? The fact that I do so many a day. So yeah, 7 a day.
Just a little bit about your workday. What happens, your routine, what goes on in your day?
Yep. The thing that COVID doesn't get a lot of praise for is how technology, like the way we're speaking at the moment, came on in leaps and bounds. So my
Yeah.
day usually begins about 8 o'clock, sitting right in this chair in the home office, and I fire up the computer through a VPN. I log in, I write stories, I can edit vision, I can do all those things from home. And so it's not until about lunchtime when all of a sudden I have to become the news presenter and change focus from just being a reporter slash producer to then taking on board the responsibility of sitting in the studio and doing what I do.
Yeah.
So the usual day begins here at about 8 o'clock most weekday mornings.
Oh, yeah.
Um, and you work out what you're going to be doing across those 7 bulletins. And I work with such a great team. I've got, fantastic news directors and literally because I do the Tasmanian bulletin, do 4 across regional Victoria. I do the ACT and region bulletin, so that goes out as far as Goulburn. And then the final bulletin that I'm doing at the moment is the Wollongong bulletin that goes from Helensburgh all the way down to Eden on the border.
Oh, wow. That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
That, so is it like hard to do all of those? Like keep track?
Well, as I said, you're surrounded by great team members, so you can't
Yeah.
take praise for, you're only as good as the weakest chain in your link, and we've got some really strong links. So I rely on them every day to make sure that my day goes as well as it can. And I'm surrounded by great directors as well. So when you walk into the studio, you know that if you've got a really good director and really good producer, and I've, 5 days out of the week, which is how many I work, I've got those. So you just lean hard on those people.
Awesome. What is your favorite part of being a news presenter?
I think making sure that telling stories about, and it's sorry, telling stories makes it sound like we're making stories up, but telling the stories of local successes. If you were to take your neck of the woods, what's the biggest story that you've had in the past 12 months, Balin?
The and mushroom
Yep,
trial.
you got it. So my wife is from Leongatha,
Oh,
and
yeah.
her parents still live there. So imagine if your whole identity was based on the scandal of a triple murderer, the mushroom killer, and that's the
Yeah.
only time you hear Leongatha on the news. It doesn't make you feel really proud of your town. So I
Yeah.
know that there's been local government moves to try and make sure that Leongatha, Murbo North, that area around that South Gippsland doesn't just get known for that. And I think that's why local news and really is important because therefore you're
Yeah.
telling the stories about the Parrots winning a record number of premierships. You're talking about the successes of what's going on with the Murbo North Fiesta, the Italian Fiesta that happens every year. So therefore you're not just focusing on the national headline, which is bad. You're focusing on telling the great stories of people who are succeeding, and you know that it's a really good thing to be doing because if you only reflected the bad parts of your identity as a person, you're not going to be that well regarded. Whereas if we celebrate the successes of communities and we celebrate the successes of individuals, then we know that we're really reflecting the community as it is.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Wind News is a great training ground for young presenters. We have Jack Morgan here in Gippsland. Will Hogan was previously in Bendigo. What skills do they need to in the industry to get a foot in the door?
I think exactly what we've just been talking about, the ability to make sure that you're reflecting stories. There's when the first time you study journalism, Dale, and one of the things that you always have a discussion about is how you need to work out how to be a faultless mirror to reflect what you're reporting on. Because
Yeah,
if you bring your own perceptions, your own biases, then all of a sudden you're not reflecting what's going on in the community. So I'd say that objectivity is a really important thing that every young journalist should have.
yeah,
But then, as I made you laugh about, and I didn't realize I was going to laugh as much as well, is you've also got to realize that you've got to be entertaining.
yeah,
You know,
that's exactly right.
if you watch someone on YouTube and you think, oh my God, this is boring, you turn it off.
Yeah,
The BBC's mantra is to educate, to inform, and to entertain. So if you break those down, that's what good news bulletins do. So they inform, they let you know what's going on. They educate, they let you know about services that are available to people who are going through hardship. And then finally, it's got to be entertaining. So to inform, to educate, and to entertain. And if any young journalist gets to know that those are the three most important things, I think you got it made.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Now we've got a couple of quick fire questions, just
All
five
right,
questions.
I'm ready.
I'll,
Spaghetti.
let's go. Favorite color?
Oh, see, I thought it was going to be favorite food. That's why I said spaghetti. Blue, Balin.
Well, you'll like the next question. Favorite food?
Spaghetti.
Oh, yeah. AFL, NRL, or any sport?
Got to be football. So Australian football through and through.
Yeah.
I grew up a Bombers fan, but these days I'm a Sydney fan because we've been living up here for so long. And my wife Rochelle, she was a South Melbourne fan growing up. So we're a South Melbourne slash Sydney Swans family these days.
Yeah, you've visited.
Can you just ask that question again? You dropped out at the top.
Your favorite place you've visited?
Oh, geez, I think it'd have to be Ireland or Scotland.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And finally, I think you may have already answered. What is your favorite meal?
It's got to be spaghetti bolognese. I love Italian food. I love Italian food a lot.
Yeah, exactly. I like carbonara and pizza. That's pretty much mine.
Yeah, yeah. And I see you're wearing Oscar Piastri's shirt, so therefore you
Yeah.
like Italian as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time, Bruce. Look forward to seeing you on our televisions once again.
Balin, I wish you all the best for what you choose to do in the future. It's so important to have, people who are working out what they want to do take an interest in others. And I hope this works as a great stepping stone for you as you move forward as well.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Balin.
Bye.